All right, story time. So, this is a story about, it's kind of a two-part story. The second part of the story, I can't say I almost died, but it was pretty intense. All right. And the first part of the story is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's fucking funny. Okay. It's a time we tricked my, she ended up being my wife later, but she was my girlfriend at the time. And we took advantage of a situation, me and my buddies did, and tricked her. And it was one of the best pranks ever. Okay. So it's like 2009. And we're living in Germany, and my buddy's in the army, and I'm dating this girl named Catherine, right? And we decide to go snowboarding for the weekend. So we load up in two different cars. It's me and Catherine, and we hop in her car, and then my buddies end up taking my buddy Jared's car. And so we mob out to Austria. It's like 3 hours away. And we go snowboarding the whole weekend. And while we're there, so snowboarding in Austria is, for those of you who snowboarded and skied and stuff like that, it can be pretty intense. Like almost everything, depending on where you go, is a black diamond. It's deep as hell. And this one run that we were going down was really icy. And so we're cruising down, and I end up passing Catherine, and I get down to the bottom, and I go inside this lodge, and I've met up with my buddies, and I'm like waiting. And I can see Catherine up on the hill, and she hits this ice patch and wipes out. Her feet come out from underneath her, and she smashes her head into the ice, like hard, really hard. And we didn't like know this necessarily at the time, but she got like knocked the fuck out really, really bad. And so we're sitting down there and like looking up, and she's like not moving. She's just like standing up there like doing nothing. She's just like looking around and stuff like that, and she's up there for a while, right? She finally like moseys her way down, and I go up to her, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, are you okay?" And she's like, I don't remember if she said it. She didn't say, "Who are you?" But she's like, "What are we doing here?" Yeah, that's what it was. She said, "What are we doing here?" And I was like, What do you mean? We're here snowboarding." And she's like, "But I have school on Monday." And I was like, "No, babe, you decided you weren't going to go to school. It was fine. We're just going to drive out. You're going to skip class." And she's like, "No, but I have school on Monday." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "I need to go." And I'm like, "No, babe, you said it's fine." And she couldn't remember my name, right? And so I was like, "Fuck, she's got a concussion." And so she had to go to the bathroom. So I like walked her to the bathroom, and when she was in the bathroom, I walked back and I told my buddies, I was like, "She got knocked the fuck out, dude. She doesn't even know why we're here in Austria right now. She thinks we should be back there." And it's like, she didn't even like remember my name. And I don't remember whose idea it was, but somebody, I think it was probably Chip or my buddy Betts, they're like, "We should fuck with her, dude." And I was like, "All right, what are we gonna do?" And so my buddy Fink, we all love him, but Fink just has, okay, I have a bald head, but Fink just has a big old bald head. Catherine never once thought that he was attractive whatsoever. And we were like, "Let's tell her that she's with Fink." So we're like, "All right." So she comes walking back out of the bathroom, and I just avoid her. Like, I'm not anywhere near her, right? Because I want this to fucking work. And so Fink is like coming up and like rubbing her shoulders and shit like that. And she's like looking at him weird and stuff like that. And she's like, "What is going on?" We're like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Why does he keep touching me?" And we're like, "You're together." And And she's like, no. And we're like, yes. And we're like, we broke up. You wanted to be with Fink. You guys have been together for a few weeks now. And she's like, no. And we're like, yes, yes, you are. And I think Fink was like, babe, you know, seriously, like, are you okay? You don't remember? And she was like, her mind was really trying to process, like, really trying to figure this shit out. And we kept it going for, I mean, it wasn't a long time, but it was probably like 10 minutes before finally we just all felt bad. And we're like, we're just fucking with you. And she was like, oh my God. Like, she was so stressed out at the idea that she was with Fink. So that's the first part of the story. So we do end up going home that night, and we decided we stopped snowboarding at like 6 o'clock, and it's like a 3.5 hour drive. We stop and get McDonald's and shit like that. Well, I don't know why. I was exhausted, so I decided to let her drive home, which is a terrible fucking idea. I didn't even think about it, that she had a concussion. Like, I've had them before, and I know how bad they are. And so we're driving home, and I'm in the passenger seat, and I remember like taking a nap, and I like pass out against the window, and I remember waking up. And when I woke up, I looked over at her, and she is like petting the window, like she's driving, and she's like touching something on the window. And I remember like being like, what the fuck is she doing? And like, no sooner did I get that thought process through my head, the car just, and we're on the Autobahn. We're going 100 fucking miles an hour. We're going 160K. So it was 100 miles an hour. And the car whips to the right and whips to the left. And it was like slow motion. I remember watching and then grabbing the oh shit handle. And she turns the car and hits the right front side, smashes into the guardrail, right? And my fucking head smashes into the window, and the car spins, right? And it bounced off the other side of the Autobahn. And I remember just bracing for impact, because on the Autobahn, there's shit tons of cars usually, and everybody else is going 100 fucking miles an hour. So I'm just holding, and I like grab onto her, and I'm like braced, because I know there's another car behind us. It's just gonna fucking smash into us at any second. And we just like held on for like 5 seconds before we realized, like, okay, shit, I don't think there's any other cars coming. Yeah, and so we got out of the car, and I was dazed and confused. I think at this point I probably had a mild concussion, and she definitely had a concussion. And the car was, I don't know how we lived. Like, when the insurance people came and looked at the car the next day, and they asked her dad, they're like, are they okay? And he was like, yeah, they, like, not a scratch. The car was so fucked up. Basically, like, the driver's seat and the passenger seat were the only things that were still, like, in place. Every corner of the car had been smashed and compiled in, but somehow we were totally fucking fine sitting there. And like I said, we were going 100 miles an hour. It was the worst car accident that I've ever been in. But that was, yeah, that's a time we tricked my ex-wife into believing she was with my buddy Fink, and she was so fucking stressed out about it. So